Good evening, all. Welcome to the Nip and a Half Fantasy Football Podcast. I've messed this up every single week. It's because I haven't got it written down in front of me. I always have it written down. Fantasy Football Podcast by Fantasy Football Hub. Paul, how are you? And how is your fantasy weekend going?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Fergi. Yeah, okay, good. Thanks. I've had a couple of slices of luck, one less so, but through choice. So,
Is that is that Evan Nielsen?
he caters for both, and I've still got him in Dream Team. So I've obviously done really well for a single game week
I know.
player, but then at the same time in FPL I benched him. So,
Yeah, so
uh,
you're hoping the Isak rumor is true, even though the more we read into it, it looks like that it's not true, and he did travel at least, I think, is what we're hearing.
yeah.
So
I have got him as captain though, so
yeah,
I guess I make up ground on whatever
yeah.
percentage of engaged managers, like 50% or 60% maybe. So it's not the end of the world if he plays, and I've had we could start on FPL. I've had a reasonably good week even with Evan Nielsen on the bench.
Do you want to talk us a bit more about your FPL week then?
Yeah, so I'm sitting on 46 points just now with Isak captain and Murphy to play. I guess largely based on Vardiol, Munoz, Rogers all returned pretty well, and assistant manager chip I played on Thomas Frank,
Oh, okay, okay. I wasn't sure if you'd go
but
for
a bit
Glasner.
unconventional. A bit unconventional, I guess. Well, I'm going to move on to Glasner. I
Yeah, of
had the
course.
spare transfers this week anyway, so I just fought with Chelsea's
Yeah.
dreadful away record. Brentford seem to always stand up to the big teams as well. It was that Van den Berg chance as well. I don't know if you saw it, the header at the end, and I thought it was in, so I was away celebrating. But
How many
no,
points
I'm
did you
pretty
get for it then?
10.
10. Oh,
So
nice. That's good. That's good.
yeah, so three for the draw, like normal draw, two for the clean sheet, and then five for the table bonus on the draw as well. So I probably will move on to Glasner, albeit
Yeah.
I think Gehi being out and Lacroix being doubtful as well means that I'm not expecting too much over the next two games.
Yeah, I think we touched on it last week. The fixture volume for Palace is insane, but they're not easy fixtures. Are there? I think 3 of the 4 are away, and they're against top teams as well. So it's going to be a hard few games for Palace. Yeah, the guy it's only one
Yeah,
game he's missing, any. So yeah, he's definitely a hold in Telegraph, any. But yeah, so well, yeah, I think you're above me now in FPL, then, are you? By the sound of it, what's your overall
I
rank?
think I'm like a point or two. I think I'm a point or two above you, and I had a look at.
I've got
I assume,
Pope. I've got Pope as well as Murphy, and he's our captain. So yeah, it could be really close. Come the end of the game week, but obviously you're going to have the advantage now. Well, I say that actually because you can't play your triple or bench boost, can you? In
yeah,
32 32s.
I've already played triple
Yeah.
captain as well. So, um, I suspect that that's a better play than assistant manager on Glasner over those 2 weeks. And then I'd have to play bench boost probably in 36. But
Thing is, if it feels like the assistant manager, it's either all or nothing in points, isn't it? You know, you're either going to
yeah,
get lots of points or very few. Whereas a triple captain and the bench boost, you probably average in sort of
that's
between
right.
10 and 20, say for example. So it is gonna be interesting. I was just having a look. Well, I'm on a green arrow so far. I'm only on 33 points. I do have Pope, Murphy, and Isak captain to play. I was hoping Isak wouldn't play because I got Rogers frustratingly first on my bench. But I was just looking at my team for next week because I did think about. Well, I was planning on playing my triple captain next week in 32 on Isak, and then bench boost in 33. But my team, I always look quickly at my 15. Pretty good. Like my worst fixture is probably Timber for Arsenal playing at home to Brentford. It's probably my worst fixture of all 15. I've got Rodgers and Konza away to Southampton. I'd have Raya as well. So I'd have Raya and Timber home to Brentford. So if they kept a clean sheet against Brentford, it would be a very good bench boost. So I'm kind of undecided. I gotta be
What
honest.
would be your triple cap? What would be your triple captain plan if you didn't play a triple captain in 32?
I'd either play it in 33, but there's a option in there in 36
Potentially,
potentially
yeah.
some kind of Marmoush, Haaland, Wood, which wouldn't be amazing, but I just feel if I don't play it, I'm going to bench some massive points next weekend. Is how I feel. As I have done for the last 2 weeks since I've wildcarded. So if I'm going to bench, I benched 22 points last week, and I'm benching what am I benching so far this week? And this is with an injured Gabriel. I left him in. I'm benching 12 this week with knowingly not having a player, so it could have potentially been 16. So I'm not sure. I'm a bit torn. A bit torn, to be honest. I'll probably leave it towards the end of the week. Obviously, a few teams are playing in Europe, so we may get some injuries and things. But yeah, Salah single home to West Ham, and um, there's a team home to Palace who's playing home to Palace. Man City home to Palace, which is fairly decent. Armour home to Ipswich. So yeah, we'll just have to see how it shakes out. But yeah, I have a feeling we're gonna come out of this in Game 33 pretty close, I would guess. All depending on how your Glasner punt works out. So here's going to be interesting. Good stuff. How was your Telegraph? So we mentioned Isak in terms of Telegraph. His ownership is really, really high, especially amongst engaged managers. Are you making any transfers this evening?
Nah, I'm short on transfers now, so I don't have anything planned for a few weeks now. I think if I can avoid it. I do have Gehi still, which I think you have as well. I'm just going to keep him in for the time being
Yeah, got it.
until they get through to that FA Cup game, and then I'll make a choice at that point in time. As I say, barring no injuries. 63 points for the week, which felt maybe a little bit under. It gave me a red arrow, so like I'm assuming it wasn't particularly great. Um, 84th overall.
Nice.
I did make one move. I transferred Kepa to sales. So it was like a long-term move. I think I'll just keep sales till the end of the season now. Forest's fixtures are pretty good, and they've got the FA Cup game as well. So even though they got beat 2-1, he still got 4 points at the weekend. I was pretty happy with that return away to Villa.
Very good. I got 58. I've got 7 transfers left, but I'm thinking of making two or three tonight. I gotta be honest.
Have you got Isak
I've got
already?
Isaac already, so I'm thinking of. But I've got Kepper, Kirkes, and Clivert, and I think I'm definitely getting rid of Kepper and Kirkes. I think I'm going to go to Livramento and Pope. I think I'm debating whether to go Clivert to either Murphy or I'm not sure I could stretch to Gordon. I'll have to check. I don't think I can. Or go to another defender and just try and do something a bit different and have a triple
I think
Newcastle
Barnes.
defense.
I think Barnes will play anyway tonight. Personally.
What ahead of Murphy or
Yeah, well, he's been training. He hadn't been training with the first team, apparently. Well, the last time I saw it,
okay
maybe that's changed since the last update there.
okay
Um, I thought Barnes has been playing all right recently as well.
yeah okay
I could well be wrong. I'm not in the know by by
no
any
of
stretch,
course.
but I do fancy Barnes to play tonight.
What would you do in my spot? Would you do Pope and Livramento or not?
Um,
I'm not overly keen on Pope, but
yeah,
they get this.
I
They got this run
prefer
of
I prefer
five, haven't they?
Livramento, or you could do you can do Kerkez to Murphy without doing Livramento, like as well. You're on 4-3-3,
No,
right?
no, I'm 3-4-3.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay. I don't mind the Livramento move. He's going to play. He's going to play every game, even when Hall comes back. It's like Livramento had ousted Trippier at the right back spot.
why are you not as accepting of the Pope move?
I just prefer I prefer Sells, and I think he's a better pick longer term.
Okay,
And there's still plenty of opportunities to hop on that. I think
yeah, that's fair.
um, over the coming weeks. I think that would be my move.
Let's have a look. Just have a quick look at Forest's. Yeah, but they only play like. There's, no, I'm not. Newcastle got a 5. They've got 5 for 2 over Forest.
Yeah, but you're like you often say this. You're playing end state with your transfers now, so you're not really looking for 5 for 2s, are you? You're looking for how many
Well,
fixtures
this
compared to the other person for the end of the season.
well, I don't know. I left it in my hub voice note. That I see the TFF season sort of split into two now. There's two halves of it left. There's basically up until the FA Cup semi-finals, and then there's after that. Because after that, we're going to know the finalists. We're going to know the rest of the layout. So, with that in mind, I'm happy to take a 5 for 2 up until the semi-finals, and then after that, there's only 4 or 5 games left for all the teams. That will be proper end state, because looking at my team in terms of end state, I'll probably end up with the rest of my team is Munoz, Gehi, Palmer, Gibbs, White, Bruno, Marmoush, Isak, and Salah. I think most of those are pretty end state anyway. So that's why I'm thinking of making the 3 moves now, letting it ride. I know there'll be injuries, or there could be injuries, right? Letting it ride, and then using my final 4 to rejig, for the kind of run in there. But I've got to do something, mate. I'm floundering. 1.2k. I'm just not. There's no point in me thing. I'm quite happy actually to take that risk on the 2.
The defensive double up, I guess.
Yeah.
You know yourself, if you've got a semi-block defense in this game, and you keep even 2 clean sheets out next 4,
This is
be a good return probably.
I'll go for that. I'm not sure on the 3rd move. I could do Clivert to like burn or something along those lines. Because Bournemouth fixtures now, actually, I don't think they're the best till the end of the season. They do have Fulham and Palace in the shortish term. Then they go United, Arsenal, Villa, City. Then they finish with Leicester. It's not the best. And Bournemouth have hardly been on form recently, have they? So I may just do the Clivert one as well and just cross my fingers and hope for the best, really. I think. But I'll give that 3rd move a bit of thought. Viney's in the top 10 in TFF thanks to Evan Nielsen. Viney's got Evan Nielsen in TFF. I think this is when he's pressure transfer and replace him with Isak tonight. Tim.They said my rank is like the stock markets. Absolutely. Tim, we're all having a bit of a battering at the moment. Dave Hannigan is in. He said the sun's out in Bournemouth. Better if Isak plays my captain in FPL. Windy says his lad is up to 37th now, and he's lagging behind in 131st. Well played. It's his first year as well. Well done, everyone. Superb stuff, superb ranks there. Let's have a look at Dream Team then, is it? How was your Dream Team week? Evan Nielsen.
Yeah, slightly frustrating for me is that I had planned the Rodgers move, and I felt it was the safest move to do. I planned it all week, and I changed my mind at the last minute. I just thought, and I've never ever rated Rashford particularly as a player, but I just thought he's like the most purple patch player one of the most purple patch players I've ever seen. And just on recent form, I was like, I wanted to chase the upside. Thought Watkins would be out, so I thought Rashford would lead the line, and then sort of 9 point difference between the two of them.
Yeah.
But so I brought in Rashford and Saka both benched, but they were the 2 most popular transfers in, so I know that I'm not alone in that. But yeah, Evan Nielsen was kind of the star of the show, 16 points return. I've still got Porro, 7 points.
A clean sheet bust, mate. I texted you yesterday, and it's rare. It's rare these days in the last few years where I think I texted him like, I just hate fantasy at the moment. I just feel like that part. I was kind of walking along with the dog, and I made the mistake at roughly when the game was going to end of just looking for the Porro clean sheet, because obviously that 7 would have been a 12, and thinking that he was only 41% owned in the top 100, and that would have been enough to give me probably a fairly decent green. And just seeing that 90-minute goal, and then on the back of that, then Gvardiol keeping, like a highly owned Gvardiol keeping a clean sheet away to United who have been scoring for fun, playing well. It just all feels a bit arse backwards, and just got mega frustrated. I was just like, every single move I've done in the last few weeks in any format, it feels like none of my players are doing anything, and everyone I don't own are doing everything, and it's just it's so frustrating. It's just so frustrating. So thanks for putting up my rant yesterday on text. I appreciate that.
That's all right. Porro was on 6 points at the time, and he only got the extra point, and maybe he wouldn't have got that point butterfly effect if that hadn't happened. So I look at it as a 4 point loss rather than a 5 point loss.
I look at it as a clean sheet loss, mate. Hurts. Seeing the 2-1, it's just, oh, God. Me summing. But yeah. Anyway, I had to leave Aina in my team because I had Haaland and Kluivert. So I'm glad I took out Kluivert. Did the same as you. Brought in Saka and Rashford. Small drop in rank. Only scored 53 so far this week. Got 9 playing again. Looking ahead to next week, it's kind of interesting because the only player I've got, I've got two. I've got 2 players who haven't got a double next week. One is Aina, who's obviously he's going anyway because he's injured. But the other is Salah, and he's home to West Ham. And I think the week after he's away to Leicester in single game weeks, aren't they? But like all my other players and any potential player I bring in will have doubles over the next week or two as well. So it's kind of an interesting dilemma. Have you got any thoughts around that?
We might end up having the same without by design. We might end up having the same team next week because I'm thinking of taking Salah out as well.
I'm not sure yet. But just taking a quick look. So look. Just a quick look at the fixture.
I'm the same as you. I've got 9 doublers, and my 2 singles are Evan Nielsen and Salah.
Yeah.
I don't need the budget building to keep Evan Nielsen in.
Yeah, looking, it's Villa who've got that kind of extended run, haven't they? They've got the most games in a row. They've still got 3 double game weeks after this game. And then there's other teams who who've got like the 5 games. Arsenal.
I had an originally planned like loosely to do Porro to Trippier next week, but then I looked at it and I was like, I would have to take Trippier straight back out again the following week. So I'm actually quite comfortable taking Salah out. I think, and say I did take Evan Nielsen and Salah out, get the 11 doublers. I think that sets me up better to attack future game weeks.
Yeah,
especially if Spurs progress in the Europa, because I could keep Porro. He's playing at least one of the 2 and coming on when he's not starting, and we know he's good for everything apart from clean sheet points.
Because Salah's next 3 games: home to West Ham, then they got Leicester, then they got Spurs. He's gonna score some serious points. What's that?
He's woefully out of form.
He is. It's it's gonna be an interesting week, and again, it's not going to be till next week, is it? But
nobody's going to captain.
No, of course.
You've got the protection. You've got the protection of a non-captain Salah as well.
It's going to be interesting because obviously we're going to find out this week. We're going to get some pretty major clues probably in some of the games of who's going to go through and who isn't as well, which I think is going to probably dictate a couple of transfers. If Spurs or Chelsea take a massive lead, for example, it might be worth looking at a couple of their players a bit earlier potentially.
Yeah.
Whereas, I feel all the other games are going to be reasonably close. Maybe not so United, but Arsenal and Villa are going to be close, aren't they? Like I've got 5 Arsenal and Villa players at the moment, and they're okay for a couple of weeks, but there is going to come to a point where probably going to want to move all those players on pretty quickly to other teams. I'm not saying Arsenal and Villa are not going to go through, but it's unlikely compared to the other teams in it. So it's going to be an interesting few weeks in Dream Team as well. Yeah, what's your thoughts ahead of next game for Dream Team?
So I'm pretty comfortable with the Villa players just now. I think I know that all of them won't necessarily play against Southampton, but them versus Southampton with the extra points from a PSG game, I still prefer over Salah over the fixture against West Ham in isolation just now. And I look at the players next. I look at all the popular players next week outside of Salah, and they've all got good fixtures. Bruno away to Newcastle's perhaps not a great fixture, but he's doubling up with Leon at home, and we know that he gets points from different avenues as well. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that as a move, provided nothing else comes up. Like we've obviously got games to play, injuries, etc., come up between now and then as well. So I think I'm set up as well as what I could be.
Armour captain next week.
Maybe. Yeah, I think for me it's between three: Palmer, Fernandez, and Isak. I think.
Okay.
I think if you thought Palmer was going to play the two, like start the two,
Yeah.
I think I'd definitely captain him. But we've seen what we saw yesterday.
I can't see that
Um,
happening again. I got to be honest.
they could go and batter Legia Warsaw 3-0 away on
Yeah, no,
Thursday
that's right.
night,
Yeah,
and then the thought is that he probably doesn't play the next week's game.
yeah.
Well, it's easy to guess these things.
But the questions in the chat. Priority Aston Villa in Dream Team. Any defenders? The high flying JC asks. I'm not too bothered for the defenders. I got to be honest. I know Cons had a really good week last week, but generally speaking, I don't think they're great defensive fixtures, are they? Just looking at this, so away to PSG, Southampton's decent. Then they got PSG, Newcastle, Man City, and Palace away. I can't see any clean sheets apart from the Southampton one there. Do you think any differently,
And
Paul?
my favorite Villa defensive assets, Martinez, I think.
Yeah. Any other players? So who's your top five Villa players in kind of order of preference? I got up at Rogers one. He just plays every game,
Rogers is
doesn't he?
one.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rogers one. I'd have Rashford second, Asensio third, and then probably the defensive players. Oh, saying that, I think Watkins
Yeah.
possibly doesn't play midweek, but then starts against
Yeah,
Southampton, and I was
agreed.
like, that's good fixture that way. I just don't know that I'd want him longer term, whereas the others I could probably hold. So maybe like Konza, Martinez with the other two.
I just can't. I can't.
Martinez, Konza.
I can't get excited about the defense at the moment because to transfer him to take out in a couple of weeks, and I can't see much upside there personally. But
My favourite differential shout for next week's Eberechi Eze, I'd say.
yes,
Even though it's even though
that's
it's
a good shout.
not incredible fixtures away to Man
No,
City and
no,
away to Newcastle, but
that is a good shout.
he's now started putting up his old style bonus points, and
Yeah, it is.
he's like a Bruno type character that can get points from different places as well. So if you were looking for a differential, I think Eze would be my favourite, and it's back to back doubles for Palace as well, and they've got the FA Cup game.
Good point from JC. I noticed this week. Hard to fit all the mids in because there's only probably one or two forwards in the whole game who are of any interest at the moment, aren't they? And the same for defenders. There's not enough midfield spots, at the moment, is there? Because if we're
Yeah,
taking out Salah to go to Eze, you can't if you're on a
yeah.
certain formation.
And I think the following week will be interesting because you've got the four Prem teams doubling,
Yeah,
and then does Marmoush become an option? Not this week, but the
yeah.
following week potentially. Um, Depending on how well Arsenal get on in the Champions League, they've got the league double as well. So does that open up a Saliba, Rea if you're looking to make a goalkeeper move potentially as well?
Michael, everyone in the chat says you said Newcastle have five for coming weeks. Which teams only have two games? So starting from tonight, Newcastle have a 5-2 over Liverpool, Man United, Tottenham, Bournemouth, Brentford, and Forest. They've got a 5-2 over all of those teams. Finishes on Saturday the 26th at 3:00. The game straight after that at 5:15 is the FA Cup semi-final between Villa and Palace. And it may be worth thinking about jumping on Villa and Palace players at that point. If not before with Villa, actually, they got some decent fixtures, but they're just such mass rotation at the moment, in there. You never know what that. Apart from Rogers, even that even Marlon and and Bailey and others are getting minutes as well, aren't they? So it's really hard to choose. How's the ultimate leaderboard looking, Paul?
You are down in 17th.
Ugh.
No, taking a bit
Looked.
of a hit. Average mini league rank of 19 for you. Looking at the top 10, we've got Martin Burke in 10th, Ben Lee in 9th, Dale Pointer in 8th. 7th is Aled Wilcox. 6th is Carl Weeks. I'm sitting currently in 5th. Gav Shirley in 4th, Darren Malloy in 3rd, Tom Gledall in 2nd, and then Johnny Curry with a 1-1-3 trifecta is sitting way out in top now. Even if you were to do it by points, you'd have a better show and you'd be 9th. I'd be 3rd, but Johnny's like almost 200 points ahead of Tom Gledall if you did it on that way as well. So, there's no catching him. I didn't realize Johnny. Like I know he's in the chat just now. I didn't realize he was from Scotland until I looked at the Scotland overall leaderboard in DreamTeam at the weekend, and I was like, I'm second. I was like, oh, my rank's pretty good, and I looked and it's him out in front, which makes sense.
He went for Slanky captain in DreamTeam, which was a very, very brave shout as well. Obviously, to get the game in midweek as well.
You'll get that, yeah. It's not like when you look at that versus Fernandez, he's only 2 points down.
Exactly.
So fair shout.
Good stuff. Well played, everyone. We'll know in about 15 minutes if Isak is going to be playing or not. Sounds like he might, or sounds like he travelled with them anyway. That's not to say he's going to play, but it sounds like he probably will. It'd be interesting if he doesn't, because I can see some pretty big swings if he doesn't. I think I might make those 3 Newcastle defender moves, mate. I think I might. JC said at the chat, met you at a meet at once, Paul. You laughed at my poor Sky team. Haha. Brilliant.
Oh, that was in Edinburgh. That must have been Edinburgh meetup.
The tables have turned.
Touche. Yeah.
But yeah, he said it was bad. I missed the deadline. Okay, thank you all so much for joining us this evening. Best of luck for the rest of the European games this week and the weekend. The Island Outlaw says you're going to talk TFF. We did that. I think we did that for first or second, did we? First or second? Second, yeah, we did it earlier, Island Outlaw. So if you just scroll back, we did FPL first, TFF second, and Dream Team third. We had a chat to our teams. I'm contemplating either doing a double or triple Newcastle defensive move for my sins, I might say. It's not something I would recommend, but desperate times and all that.
Gambler's fallacy, like the whole Leicester haven't scored in 8 games in a row. They're due a goal.
You're right. Did they score last week or not? Or no, I don't think they did they? So I'm not sure how to go for the 2 or the 3. I'll see how the lineup pans out. But yeah, thanks everyone, and we will see you next week. Cheers all.